I've had the privilege of working in sponsored programs for about 10 years, for NDSU for 11. Before my time here, I was in the field of developmental disabilities for about 30 years, and that tells my age right there if you do the addition. Um, I have, I'm doing a presentation on the federal systems because when it comes to federal grants, you have to apply within the systems that we use. And we have not, this is the first time that we've ever done this. And I had planned on going into the different federal systems to go ahead and help you navigate, but that doesn't seem to be working so well for me, but at least the volume is now within reason. So now I'm not echoing all over the place. How many of you are from College of Ag? How many are from Arts and Science? Engineering? Who have I forgotten?
Health and Human Sciences.
Wait, aren't
Oh, you did.
Wait for that one.
Thank you, Brian. Some of you I've had the pleasure of working with previously, and others, welcome to my world. Okay, so the first thing that I would like you all to do is to get a login.gov account. A login.gov account is not necessarily is not a federal system. It's the dual push, right? To be able to get into some of the federal systems. So do this first, get a login.gov account first before you start marching your way into any of the other systems, please. And it doesn't take much. That way you have that two-factor authentication and you can link your other accounts to this. Questions on login.gov? No, because you've never used it before, so therefore you're not sure. Okay, well, just do it. It is a very quick process. I mean, it's easily done.
Yeah, I do have a question about login the Gov. So I just registered, I see on the second point, they use, it has to link with the SAM the Gov and the Grants the Gov, right? I just register my Grants the Gov account and then, and for the Samsung the Gov, I need to like,
You don't need anything in SAMS.gov. Okay, that is an NDSU account.
Okay,
And we hold that for the whole, the whole university. You just need to link it with your grants.gov account. So once you've made your grants.gov, do this before you make a grants.gov account and it will go easily for you.
oh, so the Samsung the Gov is like a institution.
It's an institutional thing. It's actually, we have to have a SAMS.gov account in order to get any kind of loans. So all the student loans, all the awards, all the grants, all the contracts from the federal government that come through NDSU is reliant on NDSU holding that SAMS.gov account.
Okay, thank you.
Science CV. I only put this in here because Science CV has different bio sketches and different current and pending per what you're going to head and applying for. So you need to be registered in ERA Commons or for NIH or registered in research.gov for NSF accounts. If you're not registered in those accounts, you can't get your biosketch, your current pending, those things to print out in Science CV. I only know this because about a week and a half ago, I had somebody call me, said, I can't get in. And I said, do you have, and I said, well, let's try. So we did, and we found out that unless you hold those accounts, in NIH or NSF, you can't get into the science CV system. So again, we need to get you into the accounts in order to make everything flow together. NIH and ERA Commons Assist is National Institutes of Health. They have this electronic administration system called the ERA Commons. And that is their interface for the federal government, for us, and for all the applicants to come together to access and share their information. So when you go to ERA Commons, that is for NIH and basically solely for NIH, though sometimes we see the Food and Drug Administration in there as well. So we've had applicants for that within the assist. This is what the front page looks like. And so to register, you're going to go up into the right-hand side where it says talking Amy Scott, even though it's talking Cindy Ellison. That was a joke. Personal. So once you register for an account, we do that for you. Our office, this is the only login where our office makes the account for you, and then you have to go ahead and enter your profile in order to make sure that it's a valid account then. So what we need is for you to send to ndsu.research@ndsu.edu. We need anybody who wants an ERA Commons account needs to send us their name, what role they need, as well as their email. So if you have an NIH grant, all the people, when you go to do your reporting requirements, all the people that you're reporting on, also as far as if they've helped on the grant or not, students, research techs, those type of folks, they have to have a Commons account too. So it would behoove you to get, when you start the grant and you hire people, please get them an account right away, because once the students leave and you go to do the report, you have no control over whether they finish the registration process or not. We can get the account for them, but unless they validate that account, it's not activated. So send to us for the ERA Commons part, your name, your email address, and what role you need. We then go ahead and make that account. And then you have to go into the profile and complete the profile. Everybody that has an ERA Commons account, in order to activate it, has to complete the profile by completing all the questions, except for the folks, the undergrad students. They only have to answer one question in order for it to be activated. Everybody else has to answer all the questions. This is when you go to start an application in Assist, and you have a opportunity number. You enter the opportunity number in this piece right here. Then you push search for applications. The application is loaded for you in Assist, and all the information that you need to complete and all the forms are right there for you. You have to go through all these forms in order to get the application process. So the R&R cover is like your information as well as the institutional information, how much money you're requesting, the title, those types of things. A lot of times people come to us and say, but we don't know what the institutional information should be. And we actually have that on our website under institutional information. So the EIN, our employee identification numbers there, EUI, EUI, and is there, those are the numbers that are affiliated with NDSU. Underneath the cover supplement page is parts about whether you're going to use, if you have human subjects, if you're using animals. The other project information, the sites would be NDSU and any other site that you have. And then when ERA, the application for NIH application loads, it doesn't load with a budget, which is interesting piece. You have to go ahead and add additional forms under the actions part. That's where you would add the budget segment. And they don't add a budget because NIH has something called a modular budget where you submit in $25,000 increments. So you can go up to 250,000 in a modular budget. And so you don't have to describe what you're getting to NIH. You have to describe what you're getting with the money to us, but you don't have to describe what you're getting to for the money to NIH. You only have to talk about personnel. You can add either that or an R&R budget, which is a whole descriptive budget. It goes through personnel, it goes through all the information on materials, supplies, equipment, all this stuff. So then senior key personnel profile, that's where you put in your Commons ID. After you've registered, you need that Commons ID. You put that in there, and anybody else who is on the grant, anybody that's on the grant will need to have a ERA Commons account. And then the research plan, that's facilities, equipment, narrative, project summary, all the things that you need to load in that one. And then lastly, if you're doing human subjects, that is a part of that. Commons has some really, besides having to add the budget, they also have a place where you can add the other people, administrative staff, if you have other staff who fill out the application. In Commons, you'll assist, our office can see the application immediately. You don't have to share it with us. Other websites are not that way, but with Commons, it is. We can see it. And you can go ahead and you can validate your application through this process. And that will tell you with the pieces that you're missing. Again, each application has different standards. And so the validate will validate everything that's needed for that application. You can also, down here, you can also copy an application. So if you've already submitted one, you can copy the application and you don't have to start all over with like the institutional page, and adding people to it. You can either copy with all the forms filled out and all the added attachments, or you can go ahead and just make it with just the forms you need and not with the added attachments. And that's really a nice feature within ERA Commons. So when you go back into Assist, you need to know how to find it. So you just enter, if you forget the application identifier number, you can go ahead and just type your first name in there. And whether it's a work in progress, whether you've already submitted it, you go ahead and click on one of those, and then you can find your application easily enough. Lastly, the post-award actions. This is where you can see when you've submitted an application, you can go in under general and it's a drop down and you can find your application and go look at it to make sure that it transmitted to ERA Commons correctly or not. You can look at the status and find out, is it in review yet? Is it not in review yet? And this is where you come into this section to do the reporting for, like, just in time, if you're about ready to get an award. Sometimes they use just in time. A lot of times they use just in time to get everything updated that they want updated. Questions about ERA Commons and Assist? Grants.gov. Grants.gov is the government's website where you can search for different funding opportunities as well as apply in it. It's got a application process called Workspace. In this one, you have to go in and register, and then it's a Ripley's Believe It or Not. You have to log out and then log back in and then affiliate yourself with NDSU. This is our EUI. Remember you asked about SAMS? That's the number that SAMS gives us, is that EZ4WP number. Once a role is requested, you request, then we get an email from grants.gov, and then we are the ones that assign you the workspace manager role. Okay, so you make the account, you log out, you log back in, you ask to be affiliated with NDSU, and then you can go ahead, and then we go ahead and sponsor programs and assign you an affiliation with NDSU. Okay, so workspace manager, what role is that and why would I give you that role? It's the only reasonable role for everybody in this room, because you can find funding opportunities, you can download the application packages, you can complete forms, upload files, you can get other people added to it, like folks that can help you with the completion of the grant, co-PIs, etc. Now, for NSF grants and for NIH grants, do not ever use grants.gov. We won't submit those in grants.gov. You can make an application, but we won't submit it. We want you to use Assist and we want you to use research.gov for NSF. Okay, so once you have this wonderful, yes, please.
If you could talk a little bit what the advantages of using the research.gov and Assist over grants.gov.
Okay, so grants.gov is a very generic website. It will load all the application package for you. But Assist and NSF both check the application for specifics that grants.gov cannot check for. And so it behooves you and behooves us, because we don't want you to be frustrated, to use those research.gov for NSF grants and just for NIH grants, because the packages and the checking system is so much better for those specific. They're built for that application system. So once you go into grants.gov, this is the screen that you see. And under search grants, you can go in and you can start looking around, and you can go in with keywords. If you know the opportunity number already, if you know who you want to apply to, you just type that information in. This is also very useful because you can look for grants that might be of interest to you within that system. So please go in. If you know the number, wonderful. If you don't know the number, that's okay. You can find it within the system, and you can also look for other grants.
Are those only federal grants that you would find in the system?
Exactly, yes. So once you decide on a grant, and I just typed in something so that y'all could see, this. And I decided on potato breeding for whatever reason. You can see the whole screen of what you need to do now. You need to do, yeah, I want to apply, this is the one I want to apply for, and you hit the red button over there. And then it takes and it loads that whole application for you into Workspace, and you have this. So you have now an application built for you to apply for that funding opportunity right before your eyes. It really is kind of cool in that it can do that quite well. That is the different forms that you need to fill out. Again, the SF 424 is that cover page that has your information as well as institutional information. And then the supplemental information is, what are you doing? And why are you doing it? That you have to add in, who's on the grant and, a keyword thing. And then project information, performance site. Again, that would be NDSU unless you're doing another person or another institution along with you. It puts in the R&R budget, the one that has both the personnel, you have to fill out personnel as well as you have to list any equipment, and money for material supplies, travel, publishing, and those things. And then research and related and other project information is where you're going to attach your project summary, your project narrative. And then senior key personnel, that's where you're going to put in everybody that's going to be a senior key personnel. Senior key personnel can be co-PIs, but they can also be somebody that is relied upon for the grant itself. Amy, can you give me a better definition than that? Because I'm not doing well on that.
You did,
Okay.
you did.
It's not gonna be, usually it's not grad students, it's not undergrads. It's not usually research techs either.
Someone integral.
Right, to the research design. Here is the link to the institutional information page for NDSU. You can complete or download. If you look here on the very corner, it says upload, reuse, web form. I like the web form the best because I don't like downloading and uploading again. I always, mess something up. So I feel like the web form is the best. That just takes you right in. But it depends on your internet connection as well. Some people have a lot of issues with internet connection. Please always unlock. You can see where it says lock, leave them unlocked because other people, when the spa office, we can override the unlock. On this one in ERA Commons, we cannot, in Assist, we can't override. So always remember to unlock things so that other people can get into it if they need to. If you're worried about somebody changing information, I guess just caution other people not to change that information. But I think it's best if you leave it unlocked. Okay, so now you also have the ability to, in this system, to reuse forms again. And that's, again, you can do that in ERA, in Assist as well. And it's just a nice feature. So you can go ahead and you can reuse, if you've already completed the SF 424 in another application, you can go ahead and you can use it within this one as well. And you can copy a whole application from the manage workspace icon. There is no reporting requirement or reporting that you can do within grants.gov. It's only an application site, purely and simply. Okay. Grants.gov. Any questions? Okay, NSF.
I have a question. So for Grants.gov, do we need to use our a school email, NDSU email, or can we use like a personal email?
With grants.gov, I would suggest that you use the NDSU email. Within your profile, though, you can go ahead and set up that second email, right? Which is nice because if you move to another institution, right? You do have to, anytime you move to another institution, because you're affiliated with NDSU, you have to be released from that affiliation in order to move to a new school, right? And usually it is us that releases in ERA Commons, we release, and then the new institution goes ahead and asks for you to be affiliated with them. In grants.gov, you can do that because you control the profile, but then you have to ask the new institution for. So yes, put both, right? And then remember to change if you move to change your email account on all of them, You guys control that.
Will your office be notified if we submit an application through grants.gov or no?
You can't submit through grants.gov. I mean, excuse me. Let me step back. Only we can submit the application on your and NDSU's behalf. So you all get to make the application, we get to submit it for you. And that's the case for all of these. Since we're the institutional authority or within all these websites, we control the submission process. You all say to us, we're ready to submit now. And we go, yes. We celebrate that moment with you.
How many days in advance would you want us to send that application to you?
Okay, so we have the internal process as well, which you know, because you have to say, yes, I approve, right? And so I suggest to people that if they start at least 10 days to a week early, do both at the same time. Do the novolution process, which is our internal application process for approval, because internally people have to make sure that their chair and their dean and that we're okay with it. As far as, because we're, again, Amy is our authorized representative for all grants, all things grants and awards. And so you have to do the novolution piece, which is separate from the federal application piece. They go hand in hand, but they are different.
I would say add one more note to that,
Please.
is that on large proposal deadlines, sometimes some of these federal systems can be a little clunky or, that they may be down periodically. So it is helpful for you to be able to start submitting, to get it ready early to prevent any system issues. And depending on if it's a large deadline, we could, Cindy could be working on one, or she could be working on 10 at the same time. So earlier is always better.
Yeah, like this summer, we had the careers, the NSF careers, and there were 16 people going in for that application process. And so, I was doing this over here with this person and this over here with that person. So, and it works out, but, consideration is really a kind thing. So I appreciate consideration. Anything else about grants.gov? So USDA, NIFA, AMS, no, they usually go in that easy FUD.
Energy.
DOE, Energy, Department of Education sometimes. Those are the folks that use grants.gov. National Science Foundation, NSF. Okay, this again is one where you go in and you register. And again, if I got rid of the talking points, you would see that's where you register at. You can prepare proposals in here. You can do project reporting, and then you have your organizational, this is, the profiles are in here as well. You go in, I don't have this memorized. I should, but I don't. You need the easy that are UEI, I'm sorry. And then you have to identify which role you need. And most of you will select, unless you're like a business coordinator, most of you will select a role of PI or co-PI. Okay, so research.gov has a very unique thing in that our credentials within NDSU are can be tied to this system. So when you log in, you're going to go ahead and use sign in with in common credentials. You're going to pick, if you haven't done it already, you're going to type in North Dakota State University. Let me see if I did. Nope. You're going to type in North Dakota State University. Once you hit the sign in with in common credentials, and then you're gonna type in North Dakota State University, it'll pop up and you're gonna pick that one. And then it will remember it for you once you type it in, but then you don't have to go through login.gov or any of those other places. You can just use that dual system that NDSU provides. When you go to make a proposal, you choose prepare and submit proposals, and then if you're preparing a brand new one, this is where you start it. When you go in and you've already made it, you go to in progress. You have to put in, when you start new, you have to put in the funding opportunity number. And then if the directorate, because they have different directorates within NSF, you have to put in the directorate number as well. So then this is the screen that of what things look like once you start an application. Again, the system loads what you need for the application. And it has some really nice features. The only thing that this doesn't have that the other two systems have is you can't copy an application in this one. You have to start anew every time. But the cover sheet, it takes a lot less because all those credentials, et cetera, are stored. And so all you have to do is like type in the name and, do other things. Project summary, description, budget justification, the budget you have to type in. So in this system, we can see, sponsored programs can see it only if you share it with us. So down here is proposal details, and this one has been shared with us. We can't see it unless you share it with us. And you can share it with us by view, edit, and submit. And I recommend people just do that all right away. So then at the last minute when it needs to, it's 5 minutes to 5 and we've got to get this thing in, you don't have to find that button. Okay. Manage personnel is the tab where you add the co-PIs, PIs. So that is right here. So it's like the other two systems. It's got some other features. And so you add in co-PIs, or if you want somebody else, like we have a research development office, sometimes people add them in because on the big grants, they can help out on those things. You need to know that research.gov is very specific about the font size and the width size on the edges and the lines per page. So please read that because otherwise when you go to load it, it will say, no, thank you. And it'll come up with an error. We cannot submit in any of these systems with errors. So always check them before you say, I'm ready to go, because we absolutely cannot submit anything with errors. Okay, so NSF has in research.gov, it's also where you put your reports in. And so you go under awards and reporting, and that your project report will go underneath there. awards and reporting is also where you can go ahead and you can ask for a supplemental to your NSF proposal. And I've run out of slides and I also think I'm pretty close to time. So do y'all have any questions of me? Please know I hate it when people are frustrated. Please know that. I don't like that. So if you need, reach out. I would rather have you contact me than be frustrated by a system.
And NSF also have a search function to look for opportunities.
No. No. You have to type it in. The search, you have to basically go into NSF, the body and of NSF and look for research.gov doesn't provide a search function for an opportunity. Yeah, hi, I'm Cindy, by the way. I've not met you yet.
Steel.
Dean, we worked together for a while.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I was late coming in. I have a question on, it seems like login.gov and grants.gov have an overlap on the login system. Is that true?
login.gov is only to assist to log in to like grants.gov. So login.gov provides a dual authenticate. I never say it well. Authentication, there we go, for grants.gov.
So next question is, does grants.gov have a kind of like copy of proposal, or in other words, some of this user
Yes.
profile information can be recycled, so to speak?
Yes, you can copy the applications as long as you've submitted before. Now, you can't find somebody else's application. I can do that, but you don't have that ability.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would think of login.gov as basically, as Cindy said, when you try to get into like NDSU email, the dual authentication, login.gov is just a profile that you can use to just get the gateway into the other federal systems. So it really doesn't do anything else except for sort of like a common username password to get into those.
Do we also have like a workshop or a seminar about university grant system?
We will be providing that. We're working on a 8.
Yeah, so it's, the research office, we're working on an 8-session grants training to start October all the way through May.
Yeah.
I'll be doing one specific to novolution in one of those, and we'll be doing basically front to back from finding proposals to submitting. We'll also be doing sessions on the post-award side, related to managing the funding, closing out, all of that. So we're just fine tuning the sessions, but we'll be advertising that out.
That'll be great.
Mhm.
So for all the like proposals, we also need to like enter all the entire proposal information into the university system? The government?
That's exactly correct. For all grants, and a grant is something where you have reporting requirements, right? And you have deliverables, right? Sometimes people say, no, that's not a grant, and I go, do you have to report? You have to report on it? Yes, okay. And if they're deliverables, yes, then it's a grant. Okay, so all grants go into non-dilution or an electronic system. And they go through the process of approval by department chairs, by the deans, and then by us before you submit, please. Thank you all. If you need me, go to sponsored programs website. Just type in sponsored programs. The people section comes up right away. I'm there again. Don't be frustrated by systems. I can help. We can get on Zoom. We can do whatever we need to in order to figure it out. So there's so many frustrating things out there in this world today, but systems should not be one of them. Take care. Thank you.